So the funny thing is, I was kind of looking through the latest movie news and was just like, I feel like I should do a video. I haven't done one in a while. Should I talk about the Wolverine suit? Should I talk about the Wonka trailer? Should I talk about the Blue Beetle trailer? And then as I'm getting stuff ready, this drops and it's like, here, everything. So we've got some more casting for Superman Legacy, and once again, people are kind of divided on the whole thing. Let's break it all down, because it's not just like one more name. It's a couple, and it's a couple big characters for the DC Universe. So, James Gunn has already completely verified this, which is, helpful as opposed to rampant speculation like we've been getting a whole lot lately. So we now have 3 more names added to the cast of James Gunn's Superman Legacy, the first installment in the new era of DC. I know he said Blue Beetle is the first character in the DC Universe, but Superman Legacy, for all intents and purposes, and is the first movie in this new universe. So we've got 3 new characters: Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. And these characters will be played by Isabela Merced, will be Hawkgirl. Nathan Fillion, aka James Gunn's best friend, will be playing Guy Gardner, and then Edi Gathegi as Mr. Terrific. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that name. Wow. I was not expecting anything, primarily because it's a weird day to announce stuff. It is, but it isn't. Let me explain. It's weird that they announced something for Superman Legacy on the exact same day that they dropped the trailer for Blue Beetle, the final trailer. I'm like, y'all, do you want to sabotage Blue Beetle? Because you haven't had marketing, and when you do, you overshadow it with this stuff. No one's going to be talking about Blue Beetle today. But at the same time, it's not surprising because we're exactly 2 years out from the release of Superman Legacy, and I'm super excited. I have the countdown on my phone. As for the characters themselves, honestly, if we sit back and think about it, these shouldn't be super big surprises. Now, Mr. Terrific, especially when James Gunn and Peter Safran first took over DC, James Gunn got in that mood of sharing random no context pictures, and one of the very first pictures that he shared was of Mr. Terrific, and Alex Ross painted Mr. Terrific, and everyone's like, oh, Mr. Terrific's gonna be in the DC Universe. And I'm going, yeah, that's kind of what I get from it. That's super cool. It means he's going for the lesser known characters. Don't get me wrong, he's gonna include the big heavy hitters too, but the fact that the first official Green Lantern casting that we have in the universe isn't Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, we know they're coming, but it's Guy Gardner. And I know some people are already up in arms of James Gunn just hired his friend again. I'm like, yeah, he does that all the time. Granted, he did already have Nathan Fillion as arm fall off boy in the Suicide Squad, but again, we haven't gotten further clarification as to what this new universe will look like, whether it's a full reboot or not, and I think we might not get that until next year. I think they're just not saying the word reboot until Aquaman 2 comes out, and they're hoping they can make some money out of that in Blue Beetle. But again, you have to market Blue Beetle in order to make money. Thanks, Warner Brothers. I think we're probably going to lean more towards a 90% reboot, or at least mild spoilers for The Flash. How they explain stuff in The Flash is they changed some stuff up, but kept some stuff the same. When you go back in time and fix something, it doesn't just change your past, it changes your future too. It's like mixed spaghetti, they said, which kind of was a good explanation, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how they go in the future. Of some things will stay, not a whole lot, but some things will stay. Most things will change though. The casting, I am definitely on board with. Edi Gathegi, once again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name. I am least familiar with that actor, but I'm excited for the character of Mr. Terrific. I'm very excited to deep dive into the lesser known characters. Isabela Merced, I was first introduced to her in the live action Dora the Explorer movie, which has absolutely no right being as good as it is. That movie is so much fun, and also one of the best sharpest picture movies for some reason. If you have a 4K TV, that's my go-to, besides Pacific Rim, of look how pretty it looks. And then Nathan Fillion, everyone and their mother has fan casted him as Hal Jordan for what feels like years. And to be fair, he has voiced the character on a couple of occasions. Guy Gardner does make a lot more sense. And the article, I believe this was Vanity Fair, was originally the one that broke the news. They more or less kind of let slip that, yeah, Guy Gardner is going to be sporting the bowl cut in this movie, and going, James Gunn just really wants any excuse to embarrass his friend. I am totally on board with that. But because it's me and everything has to revolve around it, if we're getting these obscure characters, or not obscure to DC diehards, but lesser known to the general population, like Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner Green Lantern, it's only a matter of time before we get like Nightwing and Red Hood and the Titans. Like, come on now, please. And I feel like for the time being, we're only really going to get casting news for Superman Legacy because other projects are further down. And again, they want to make as much money as they possibly can from Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2. And out saying reboot might further damage the brand. They're not showing up to Comic-Con, so don't expect big anything there. If Comic-Con even happens with, you know, the whole strike on the horizon, which potentially might be going into effect when you're watching this. Yeah, I think this is great. It rounds out the cast. I have seen some people complain and compare it to the whole Zack Snyder Batman versus Superman argument of, well, you got mad when there's a whole bunch of characters in BVS, and that's a completely justified rationale. Again, we don't know how these characters are going to be used in the movie. Seems like this could be a packed movie, but how they're used could be very, very important and not at all bloated. The story could still end up being a Clark story with just a lot of interesting and supporting characters to flesh out the universe. James Gunn movies typically have very large casts, but they focus on the core characters. That first Guardians is essentially a Peter Quill story. Yes, it's got a lot of characters, but you focus on the right elements. The Suicide Squad, I know it flopped at the box office, but that's got a very large cast of characters. Now, granted, not all of them make it to the end of the movie, but he knows how to balance a large cast, so I'm not really overly concerned about stuffing it right now. I get people's criticism and maybe cautious concern of going, we're casting a whole bunch of other heroes. I'm going, yeah, we're going to set up this universe. He's just going to hit the ground running. But I get the concern that it might be stuff. I have faith in James Gunn. I can be proven wrong. We'll see. But he has experience with large casts before. I think this casting's great. I think it's fun that we're introducing these lesser known characters, but we're going to get the bigger characters too. I hope this opens up the door for like a Green Arrow, a Martian Manhunter, a Zatanna, Dr. Fate. I know we got Dr. Fate recently with Black Adam, but I think he's purposely casting characters that we haven't seen yet or haven't really gotten their time to shine just yet before we reacclimate ourselves to characters that have already been established in previous movies. That's why we're getting characters like Guy Gardner, who's never been seen before, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. Like, they haven't been given their fair shake on the big screen yet, so we'll get the bigger name characters eventually, but I think it's smart to introduce the other members of the Justice League that honestly have been neglected for far too long. Now, again, where's Nightwing? Where's Arsenal? Where's the rest of my core characters that I love so dearly? I'm sure we'll get them. I just need to be patient. But once again, I think this is super exciting. This is super fun. I do worry about Blue Beetle, though, because this is just trouncing right over it. But maybe I'm being too paranoid about that. And Blue Beetle's just, I don't know. I want Blue Beetle to do well, and I feel like it's not getting a fair shake in favor of future projects. Well, what do you guys think? Are you excited for these castings? Are you cautious because you think it might be too many superheroes off the bat for a first movie? Whatever your thoughts, let me know down in the comments below. I like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.